How's it going, everyone? It is that time of the month again, and the PlayStation Plus titles for the month of September have been leaked. They should be officially announced by Sony later today, last Wednesday of the month. That's generally when they come out. However, the fine folks over at Deal Labs have got the early jump on it, and they've been on the money. So you could take this with pretty much assured that these are going to be the Plus games. Honestly, I do think a lot of people are going to end up being disappointed by this month's offerings. However, if you actually break it down with each game offered, maybe it's not as good as the last couple of months, because I thought the last couple of months were rather strong, but I still think this is an okay month, and comparatively speaking to some of the not-so-great months we've had, I still think this is, like, somewhat decent, so I'm not ready to, like, put PlayStation Plus Essential to bed just because of PlayStation Plus Extra. I still think this is a pretty decent month, all things considered. So let's go over the games themselves. You got Need for Speed Heat, you've got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and you've got Toem, a photo adventure. The last one I have heard of, I'm not too familiar with it, but we'll talk about that at the end of this video because the game's got a really strong reception. Need for Speed Heat, let's start with that. Okay, so Need for Speed is an IP that is very hit or miss. I think a lot of people just look at Need for Speed and they're just like, bro, that's not a game I want to play. The mid-2000 days of Need for Speed Most Wanted, those are long behind us, and Need for Speed is a very, very inconsistent franchise. However, if you actually break it down, some of the Need for Speed games are still decent. Hot Pursuit, again, from 2010. That is a while ago. I thought Rivals was okay. And Need for Speed Heat is actually a pretty enjoyable arcade racer. Now, is it a game that I would say, spend $60 on? Absolutely not. But an arcade racer to be included in PlayStation Plus where you can just go and have some fun with it, I think Need for Speed Heat is honestly a fine offering. The only thing I don't like about games like this being on Plus, and this is just the reality when you have a billion subscription services, if you have an EA Play subscription as well, which some of you guys probably do, it kind of mitigates the value of Need for Speed Heat because the game is also available through EA Play. But overall, I still think this is a decent offering as an arcade racer, and I think it's one that if you give a chance to, and if you're okay with racing games, like some people just don't like racing games for whatever reason, and I can kind of understand it's not for everybody, but I feel like arcade racers are just super easy to get into, and this was a game that I felt like I jumped into it. I played it right when it came out. I jumped into it, and I had an enjoyable time into it. Did I get super invested into it? Did I sink, over 100 hours into it? Absolutely not, but for the time I played it, I had a good time with it. And if you enjoy arcade racers and you just go into it not taking it too seriously, but just, wanting to have a decent bit of fun with it, I think you will end up enjoying it, to be perfectly honest. Game has a 72 on Metacritic, so not the strongest critical reception, but it does have a very positive reception on Steam. 36,000 reviews, 85% of those reviews are positive. Alright, next up, we have Grand Blue Fantasy Versus as a freebie. Now, this is not Grand Blue Fantasy what's it called? Relic. That game's not even out yet. That game everybody's super excited for. I don't even know when it's gonna come out. I thought it was supposed to be out this year. This is a fighting game within the Grand Blue Fantasy universe. I will say, absolutely stylish visual style. It's an Arc System Works fighting game, so from a stylistic standpoint, it looks fantastic. The single player component is actually pretty good as well, and if you just want to play the game from a solo standpoint, it's fine on that end. You guys know me, I don't get into fighting games competitively anymore, especially fighting games like this. Even the Arc System Works fighting games, as good as they are, like DB Fighters as well, games like that, I can enjoy. I can invite friends over, have a good time with them, maybe enjoy the solo mode, although that varies from game to game as far as, how good they are, but I thought Grand Blue Fantasy Versus was a pretty decent one, and again, if you're not a huge fighting game fan like me, but you still play them casually here and there, I still think this is a game that you can enjoy. From the soundtrack standpoint, from the visual presentation standpoint, those elements I thought were done really well. So give this one a look. Again, I know with Grand Blue Fantasy, everybody's excited for the JRPG that's coming out, so this is a one that, again, fighting games, racing games, I think there's an audience that really enjoys them, but this is more of a niche fighting game, and Need for Speed is just an IP that not everybody loves these days, so that's why, as these two are the big titles that are promoted for Plus this month, that's why I think people are going to be disappointed. But I think if you actually give these games a shot, you might end up being pleasantly surprised by them. And I also think they're two more notable games, and they have quite a bit of variety to them as well, so hopefully, at least you check out out one of those two games and have a good time with. Lastly, I do want to go over Toem, a photo adventure. I'm not too familiar with this game, to be perfectly honest, but the game's got 976 Steam user reviews. 98% of those reviews are positive, so a really positive reception on that end. The description of the game notes, set off on a delightful expedition and use your photographic eye to uncover the mysteries of the magical Toem in this hand-drawn adventure game. Chat with quirky characters, solve their problems by snapping neat photos, and make your way through a relaxing landscape. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, and the game's got a really, really slick black and white art style by the looks of it. Presentation is definitely unique on this one, and yeah, got a really strong reception. So a game like this, honestly, like, I always talk about how I think one of the 3 PlayStation Plus Essential games, it's fine if it's a lower-key, smaller game. That's what they did with Little Nightmares, and Little Nightmares is a game that not everybody checked out. It's a smaller indie game that not everybody knows about. In this case, I don't even know about this game that much, so I've heard about it before, but it's not one I really ever looked into. But the reception looks rather strong, and hey, when you have 2 somewhat more notable games, you know, maybe, you know, saying they're notable and Need for Speed Heat and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is a little bit of a stretch, but I think overall, like, you look at the variety in the month's offerings, I think from that standpoint, it's pretty good. You don't have, like, a big game like that month. We got Crash Bandicoot 4. You don't have a game, I would say, at that level, especially because Need for Speed Heat, I mean, that's available in a super cheap subscription service already, and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is an MSRP of $19.99, I believe, so that game is pretty cheap. It's not like, from a value standpoint, like you're getting, you know, $40 games here, but I still think overall, from the variety, I think it's a pretty good month. I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree with me, but what I'm just hoping for is that we can sustain at least some sort of quality level. As Sony and PlayStation are introducing PlayStation Plus Extra and PlayStation Plus Premium, you just want to sustain that level of quality. Just because we saw what happened with games, Xbox Games with Gold, that isn't very good anymore, just because Microsoft has gone full on with their Game Pass, all their eggs in Game Pass, which I can understand why, and you don't want to have so much crossover between Games with Gold and Game Pass as well, so I get why that's happening, but Sony is of a different mindset where not all their eggs are in the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium basket, so hopefully Essential still sustains at a decent quality level, and honestly, from July, August, and September, I feel like they've done kind of well. This is probably the weakest of the 3 months since Plus Extra and Premium have launched, but I still think there's a lot to like with Grand Blue Fantasy versus Need for Speed Heat and Toem, a game that, you know, I'm not too familiar with, but from a reception standpoint, from a stylistic standpoint, the fact that it is a smaller game, but it's not the marquee title, I think it's alright. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Always interested to hear from you guys. It seems like you guys are always upset. There's always some people that are kind of upset about the Plus offerings, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Definitely interested to hear from you guys. Make sure to redeem Yakuza Like a Dragon and the other games that are available right now. Get on that ASAP, because you got a couple more days to do that, so make sure you do that. That's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.